Welcome to Six Count. I'm your host, Zara Wild, bringing you the voices and stories of jazz from Durham, North Carolina. Michael, thank you so much for joining Six Count.
Of course.
You shared on your show at Miss Elaine's that you weren't going to talk a lot during the show, and so it feels like a pleasure to be able to actually have a sit down with you now.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
And what a great performance to start the new year. It had Ernest Turner on piano, Butler Knowles on bass, Irving Ade on keys, and guest Dave Finucane on sax. So that was a real pleasure to see him come up for a little bit. Do you want to share anything about those performances? You also had a double header that weekend at the Sharp 9 Gallery. So just what went into curating the selection, and it was a new band, it sounds like, with new music. So anything you want to share about that show?
It was a lot of fun. That was a great time, but it was kind of last minute. It was from a cancellation. The pianist in the area, he was supposed to be playing there, but I know he canceled. Then Cicely hit me up and asked if I'll be willing to put together a group. And of course, I always love to play, so
yeah,
I thought of those people immediately. Butler plays in like all my bands. Like he comes up to New York often, and we play a lot. And we've been playing together for,
is that like
probably
even
almost
high
like
school?
10 years.
Oh, wow.
I think we met in college. I actually remember it was on a gig with Al Strong. It's like a random gig in Chapel Hill. It was like an instant connection. And we're very good friends. It's like my bro. So we've been playing together for years. And then Ernest, I met him probably when I was in high school through like just the sessions. Brian Horton used to do a session. Rest in peace.
For Kingfisher, Brian. That one that I know he was.
Yeah, it was before that. There was a place called The Whiskey.
Okay, downtown Durham?
Yeah, I think it was where Arcana used to be. Arcana,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they used to do a weekly session, and I used to sneak in there. They used to sneak me through the back.
Nice.
I was like 15, 16. But I think I met Ernest around then.
Okay, so long-standing roots.
Yeah, but we didn't start playing probably until I was in like college.
Well, I know the Durham scene, of course, claims you, but you are in New York City full-time, it sounds like.
Yeah, I moved to New York about 8 years ago. Well, full-time, maybe 6 years ago.
So you suffered through the pandemic and stuck around and were there before. So you've had a good feel for what the scene was like before and after.
Definitely. It's, it's definitely a lot different now. It's great, though. It's just, nothing will ever, be like it was.
Yeah.
But still a lot of great opportunities, and a lot of masters still live there.
And in New York, you've been playing with Kenny Garrett more recently. Can you share about how that relationship came to be and your most recent shows together? Yeah.
Wow. I met Mr. Garrett when I was in college. I went to go see him at the Detroit Jazz Fest, probably like 2014. And when Marcus Baylor was in the band, and Rudy Bird, Vernell Brown was playing, and Corcoran Hope. Long-standing member of the band. They were playing in Detroit. So that's when I met him for the first time. And I kept going to see him, like whenever he was in town, I'll go to New York to see him. And we would always see each other. He knew my face, but I never told him I play drums. I was always like, thank you. Like, you're such an inspiration, Because I'm a fan first. I love John Coltrane and Miles.
Of course.
And those are probably my two favorite artists. He has both of those sides, for sure. One of the people alive that has both of those perspectives. So I've always been a fan of his music, but I never told him I played drums. I'm not really the type of dude like, oh yeah, I play drums. Like, oh, you need to hear me. Like, I never really been like that. But I've always been confident in my I know God gave me something special, or, a gift, but I never was
It's a fine line to network, I guess, at those events.
It helps though. But a few years ago, me and my friend Sarah a great young saxophonist, Sarah Hanahan, great friend. We went to go see Mr. Garrett at the Blue Note. He was playing with another great drummer, Mark Whitfield Jr. on drums, and Corcoran Holt, Melvis Santa, Vernell Brown, I believe at that time. And just his normal band at the time. And my friend Sarah had seen that I knew, or like that we knew each other, because we like, he came off stage, he's like, oh, what's up? And he's like, and she was confused, like, what, you know? Because that's her hero too.
Yeah.
She's like, what, you know, like Kenny, like, you should be playing with him. I'm like, oh, well, he doesn't even know I play drums. I just know him.
That's so funny.
I'm seeing him.
He just thinks you're a band.
So then she got real mad at me. Sarah, she's like, what is wrong? So like, when he was leaving the club, she like dragged me up to him and made me tell him like, yo, I play drums. Like, I would love to play with you. Like, so like she literally dragged me up and made me do that. And then he couldn't believe it. He was real surprised. He's like, what, are you playing? And he's like, oh, let me get your number. And then he's like, yeah, let's get up tomorrow. Come to my house and let's play.
Okay.
And that's how the relationship kind of started.
That is so cool. I mean, I think there is something to be said of building the relationship first, as you did, where you were showing you truly appreciate his music. You weren't just trying to maximize an opportunity, but then it's also great to have friends that want to advocate for you and push you to do things that might be interpersonally uncomfortable in the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
no, shout out to Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. And is he going to be on any debut album or one of your 3 to 5 albums that you said might be coming down the pike?
Well, yeah, I've been working on an album maybe like the past year or so with Butler.
Okay.
Kind of, but we haven't really been working on consistently, just pieces here and there.
Well, you've been often on the road, so, you know, it's hard to do that.
He works a lot. So I'm trying to finish that. And then I also have, in New York, I have 3 bands.
Oh, great.
And they all have different books of like original music. So I want to record all those bands this year. Hopefully before August record. Because we've been playing a lot and developing.
Yeah.
And I think it's getting to the point where it's like, you know.
We're ready almost.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a hard line to know of just when are you ready to make an album, because it's not like you'll have complete clarity of like, oh, we have perfected this and it would never get any better. But I imagine there's kind of a nebulousness to that. Yeah,
it's always been, it's been an interesting journey for me because I recorded what I thought was going to be my first album, I think in 2017 or 18.
Was this with Isaiah Collier that you had mentioned that was separate?
This was with some of my friends. One's from Durham. You know Elijah Fox?
He just came through town for Missy Lanes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was, we grew up playing together. We went to college together. So.
And you were on that show too, I'm remembering as well. Mm-hmm. Of course, yes.
But yeah, he was on it. And then some friends from Oberlin. Some good friends I met, great musicians. No Way Mina, Davis Young, Michael Esper. Who else was on it? And then there were some local musicians from here. Russell Fabre was on it. Sean Mason played a little bit on it.
Your fellow New Yorker.
Yeah, well he's back in Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
He's back in Charlotte now. But yeah, he was in New York. He was before the pandemic. And yeah.
I know he collaborates with Keenan on the historic swing sides at times.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, very cool. So you were saying you were thinking of recording, or you were starting that process back then?
We did the record. I just never put it out.
Oh, okay.
In hindsight, I probably should have put it out, but...
Was it the technicality side or the marketing or just like the mixing?
It was just having unrealistic standards or expectations for like a first statement.
Oh, right.
Artistic statement.
You know, they say the perfection is enemy of the good and all of that. Exactly. But I also know you want to have a standard of excellence with everything you do. Exactly.
Yeah. Just interesting with this music because such a high level of like excellence and like greatness has been established by the masters. So you're always thinking of trying to uphold that or like maybe even take it further if you can. So I never felt like I wanted to put something out that wasn't like on that same level or at least like pushing, you know.
Yeah, kind of
I
like...
don't want to be less than, or,
Yeah. Honoring the art, it sounds like what I'm hearing, and the legends.
Lineage.
And Well, I mean, I think that I have a tendency to question or self-doubt decisions I've made, but I try to remember my thinking at the time of, at that time that felt like the right decision. I did have clarity. And so I like to just get better about not questioning it. So similarly, if you felt like the timing was not right, then it doesn't mean that it was a waste, but could be informing this future project in ways that are important too.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think so.
And do you ever collaborate with Billy Hart anymore, your mentor from Oberlin Conservatory?
We're actually gonna get in the studio soon. We were supposed to do a live recording in December actually with Butler. We're gonna do a live trio recording, but I was checking in with him like a week before the date, like just making sure, like, yo, you still good? Like maybe we can get up, like go through the tunes.
Right.
And he was like, he said he was in somewhere crazy. Like, I'm like, I'm in like, I don't even remember what he said, but like, somewhere around the world.
Somewhere that's not a direct flight from RDU.
Exactly. So I'm like, all right, we're going to have to reschedule it. But
okay.
This year, I'm going to do a really special recording with him. And a special guest on bass. Very special guest.
Yeah.
That like, I'm not going to say yet, but it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to have to do some practicing.
Okay, well,
before then.
We will be eagerly anticipating when you're ready to share that. I mean, it feels like this year is going to be a big one. What makes 2025 feel like the right year to finally present some things that have been brewing for quite a while?
I'm in a place now where I'm have a clear vision of what I want to do, and I have band concepts that are very specific. And in years past, I always wrote music. I've been writing music probably 10 or 11 years, since I was like 18, or really since I was a kid, but writing like, instrumental music, not just songs. I've been doing that for over a decade now, and just compiling compositions. But I never really had strong band concepts. I'll kind of just get my friends together. Yeah. Which is great. It's fun, but it might not necessarily yield the highest level art. Or
if there is a clear vision, how do you get there if there's some more like casual dynamic?
Well, everyone I still play with is my friends, good friends, but it's like deeper than just getting your friends together. You have to like hear each person like's voice in the music. So I've gone to a place where now I have 3 bands where like everyone in the band has to be there, or they don't have to be there, but I wrote the music with them in mind. So it's I've never been at that point where I can like be like, okay, this is like a real band. So I feel like I've gone to that point now. Musically, I've just been very inspired like lately. Just
where do you think that inspiration is coming from?
I think it's just coming. I mean, years of playing. I've been blessed to play with like a lot of older musicians, like older masters of this music. But those lessons kind of take years to manifest or
like sink in and manifest in your playing.
Exactly. The pandemic helped, and also just I left a lot of bands that I was playing in recently in the last year. I'd always been one to play like in a bunch of bands. Like now I'm really just playing with Mr. Garrett in my own bands. So I have a lot more mental space to like plan things and conceptualize kind of where I fit into things in terms of not only the lineage of the music, but where it's going next. That has helped, just having more time to book my own, like try to book my own shows and put together my own bands and things. I haven't really had that amount of time ever before, the last few years.
That feels really smart, though, because it seems like earlier in a career, you kind of have to fan out and try to embrace any opportunity that comes your way. But then ideally, you can focus on the things that you truly want to do and identify your goals or chase concepts that are fascinating to you as a band leader and artist. So if anyone goes to New York and wants to see you, as I'm sure many do, can you share about the 3 bands and what makes them distinct from each other?
Yeah. The first band I put together in New York was a guitar group. It's like pretty much 4 guitarists and Butler on electric bass.
Oh, interesting.
So 5
all strings and you.
Yeah, I used to call it Shekwoaga with strings.
Oh, nice. Okay, fitting.
Very fitting. But it features Matt Sewell on guitar, Wanzi Harriet on guitar, Emmanuel Michael on guitar.
Easy lineup to share.
Yeah, definitely. And Andy Berman also on guitar, and then Butler.
That sounds really fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's just a matter of right now, I'm trying to find new management and booking.
The business side of it all.
Yeah, exactly. We just need more opportunities to play. So I've been sending a lot of emails, of course, like a bunch of different venues. And
can't AI just handle that at some point?
Right.
That'd be nice. And then what about the other two? So you've got the emphasis on strings.
Then there's another one.
All drums.
That would be crazy. That's going to be the next one.
Okay.
Me, Billy Hart, and Al Foster. But the next band it's the same concept, but with keyboards.
Okay.
So it's Butler on key bass.
Nice.
I think he's probably going to start playing electric bass in it too, just because we love electric bass. But he mostly plays Moog for the shows we've done so far. And then John Elbass on keyboards and Ben Allen on keyboards.
Okay.
So that's a very fun group too. And then the last group is a acoustic quartet with Jeremiah Edwards on bass and Ace Williams on trumpet and Ben Sherman on saxophones. And that band is really interesting because I've never been in a band where I'm like the oldest person, like by far. I've always been the young person in the band. Yeah, it's crazy.
All
like
college students?
Ace just turned 21 yesterday.
That feels so young.
Shout out to Ace. Happy birthday, Ace. And Ben, he's in high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's probably 17 now. And Jeremiah, he'll be 21 in July. So they're all very... And I'll be 30 in June, so you see the age difference.
You're the Al Strong for them, or the Lance Scott, or
maybe
whatever.
I mean, I'll be learning a lot from them. So
yeah.
But it's definitely a blessing to be able to put them all together because they're all very like special musicians. They're gonna do a lot for this music in the years to come. Those
feel like, just by the instruments themselves, very different sounds. Do any of them cover spiritual jazz? In researching for this conversation, I saw that you have done some of that in the past. And is that still a focus area in any way?
Yeah, I mean, music is spiritual. I play music for God, to thank God for the gift, for life, for his faithfulness in my life, keeping me, growing up in Durham, I was like, a lot of my friends I went to high school with aren't even here anymore. So it's like, I really play. I mean, I've always played. I started playing in church. That's where, I started playing in my mom's kitchen on the public band. But the first place I played, like, publicly or heard music was a church. So I always knew that you play for a higher purpose. So that's always been my goal, try to uplift people, heal myself. Yeah. Tell God thank you. So whatever music I'm playing is always going to be spiritual, even if it's at a jam session. I'm always playing for a higher purpose, for God. That's like the whole thing. That's the whole reason. Because it's so hard, like being a musician, it's such a hard lifestyle or pursuit, like daily. Yeah. So it's like, it's almost no point if it's not for a higher purpose, because it's so hard. It has to be, you have to be doing it for something bigger than yourself, I feel like.
A takeaway I had from your show at Missy Lane's was that I wish I had connected earlier on that this is going to be a longer song that I should try to rest into, and it felt meditative because you weren't just trying to do a quick melody that is predictable, it felt like, but rather we can all kind of inhabit the space that you're creating to hear what you're doing. And I also noticed an impulse in me to try to understand it immediately. And I think I at the end let go of that and just tried to appreciate what you were doing, and was curious what you want listeners to get out of a show like the one you did at Missy Lane's?
I always viewed a show or like a book of music or like a suite. I always try to view it as like a cinematic kind of experience, like a movie.
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking about a set of music, I wanted to feel like a movie. I wanted there to be a beginning, characters introduced.
There's drama,
introduced.
there's a story.
Yeah, different points of departure throughout the set. Everything connects to each other. Every song kind of connects to the next song. Every moment connects to the next moment. So it's not like and I feel like that's how albums or shows should be.
Yeah.
So that's how I try to think about it, like a story. A story through the different songs was just like one connecting.
And what is the next story that you're creating?
Whew. I guess half of those songs we played that night were just written like a few days before the show.
And in some cases, like Dave, you shared he didn't have a really long roadmap to study the music.
No,
Yeah.
We played the night before, and he said he would come through. So the next day, I was like, "Wait, if he's gonna come, like,
what are we gonna do?"
That'd be crazy if he like brought his horn, like, and played.
Yeah.
So I hit him up like a few hours before the gig, like, "Oh, you gonna have your horn with you? Like, it'll be amazing if you could sit on a few tunes."
Yeah.
And he was down, of course, and I think like 10 minutes before we went on stage, he came backstage just to say what's up, and like, we're like, what are we gonna play?
Yeah.
So I put out like my little book, like, oh, play these. Or Ernest actually suggested one of them, the ballad. He suggested him to play on that.
I love that ballad.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It didn't seem impromptu from the audience side, but still felt like a special moment and improvisational too. So
yeah, Dave, I love him. He's one of my favorite musicians ever.
Yeah.
And people. He's just a great person.
You just get the sense that he truly does care for every artist that he works with and the things that he's doing with Sharp 9 and having stuck with it for so long. It just is such a grind probably to be managing that on a fairly small team. So,
yeah. Mostly volunteers, really.
Yeah.
So shout out to all of them.
Yes. And you have quite a few mentors, and I wanted to read a message that was between us a year ago. You shared that when you were in high school at Jordan High, Lance Scott brought his trio with Alan Thompson and John Curry to your 7 a.m. jazz combo class. And it was the first time you had seen real jazz musicians live, and it changed your life forever, you said. So can you take us back into that moment? Also, jazz at 7 a.m., that is so early.
Yeah, it was crazy. We had combo every morning at 7:30 a.m. So that was wild. But I guess my brother had always tried to put me on to jazz. He's a jazz trombone. Well, he's just a musician. He plays a lot of instruments.
Is he in the area?
He's in Nashville now.
Ooh.
But he lived here for years. Then he moved to New York. Then he moved back here when I was in high school. We was doing a lot of playing when he moved back. But he had always tried to put me on jazz when I was younger. Give me Max Roach records, Horace Silver records, stuff like that. And I just didn't like it, really. Or what I heard, at least.
It's not usually the kid tune in the car.
Right, exactly.
Art Blakey.
Right. So I kind of not ran away from it, but I was just more interested in other music. I grew up on like gospel, R&B, hip hop, So I was more interested in like R&B, hip hop. Even like I was getting into some rock at the time. So it took me a while to get into jazz. It really took me wanting to play drum set at school. And I was like, oh, this is the only way I'm going to be able to play drum set is in a jazz band.
Yeah.
Because in the concert band, it's snare, timpani, ballads, which I wasn't too interested in. So it was just from the need of wanting to play the drums.
There's something about seeing someone play live, though, that I think has to make a difference because it's a real person who's producing this music and you can see their passion for it. Yeah.
And I'd always viewed like jazz as a really old kind of sterile music. And I remember them playing and it just sounded so fresh. It sounded like really, it just sounded cool. It didn't sound like they was trying to play the record or you could tell that they knew the language, but it just sounded like they was being their own, they had their own voices, which was inspiring. I could even hear that at the time without even listening to a lot of jazz. Like, oh, they're just doing it, like, they thing, whatever, expressing themselves. So that was like very, that stuck with me because I'd always been in situations where I was trying to, play like the record or, in church you play, you miss. It's very, not in a box, but you don't have as much freedom.
Clear format. Yeah.
So when I heard that, I was like, that's like, it's pretty cool. It's powerful. They're just expressing themselves. Yeah. So that always stuck with me. It made me want to do that, really. When I seen it, I was like, oh, yeah, I think I want to do that too.
It is cool that you're able to see this does feel different and of the moment in a way that kind of countered your past conception of it. Mm-hmm. And what does your daily practice look like on break versus when you're back home? And I heard on one interview that you practice for just hours and hours. And so it's not just a mystery that you got really good. It was diligence.
Thank you. Yeah, it varies. Like at the beginning of the break, like when I got down here, I was practicing a lot. But like the past few days, I didn't even play the drums today. I didn't play yesterday.
I think this can be healthy to hear for some people. You can rest. You're allowed to rest.
There's waves. But if I do practice the drums, it's usually for a few hours, like 3 to 5 hours. Yeah. Some days it's only 1 or 2, but usually more than that. But I also play this other instrument called a melodica.
And you're like a vocalist too.
Yeah, I do sing too. So I practice the melodica every day.
Well, I love that you play that. Oh, is there anything you'd want to share about making the jump from Durham to New York not that I want to encourage people to leave the triangle, of course, but I know there are some musicians who are just trying to contemplate if it would be a good fit. And so is there anything that you didn't know going into it that would have been helpful to know in making that decision?
I love Durham, but there's just so many more opportunities in New York. If you're an artist, it's just inevitable. There's more venues, there's more people, there's more promoters, there's more bookers, there's more artists, but Durham I think Durham's a very special place. I plan on moving back here.
Oh, cool.
I don't know about soon, but definitely in the next, I don't know.
In the one day category.
Living in a lot of places.
Yeah.
I definitely want Durham or somewhere in North Carolina, maybe Asheville. I don't know. Well, praise God for Asheville. Yeah. Durham's a very special place. There's a lot of great artists. There's a lot of great people. It's just a great vibe. It's a very peaceful place, I think. Somewhat. But New York is just, there's just all the masters live there. Like Ron Carter, he lives in New York. Like, I don't know. There's all the masters are there, so there's just more places to play.
Did you expect to be there for so long, or has it felt like just taking it 1 year at a time, or even in smaller amounts, taking it a month at a time?
I did not expect it to be long. I thought I was going to move to LA like 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I'd always been planning to move to LA. I just always viewed New York as a stop, or like, but things just kept moving, like different things just kept happening.
Yeah. And once you kind of built community, I imagine it makes it harder to then leave and start over.
Yeah. I remember when I really was thinking about leaving, like seriously, like, all right, I'm about to just put my stuff in storage and move. And me and my friend Angel, we came up on this like crazy apartment. It was like a duplex with like private entrance to the downstairs and like backyard. So like we had like a club in our house. Yeah. We had like a music venue in our house for like 2 years.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people in New York know about it. But it was called Train's Basement. So that was kind of what kept me in New York. And then since then, it's just different things.
Do you still live there?
No, I wish. I wish I had to move. We both had to leave.
Okay.
The rent got too crazy. It was just like, all right.
Yeah. Well, you probably appreciated the value by being the hotspot.
That was crazy. That was the time. But that's what kept me in New York when I was planning to move. But there's just some things in New York I need to do before I leave. There's some masters that I want to play with. There's like, they're only going to be here for so long. So the time is of the essence, kind of.
Yes. So it's such a difficult thing to try to find contentment and presentness, but then also be aware that we always have less time than we think.
Yep.
So Well, it's been so fun talking to you. Is there anything you'd want to share with Six Count listeners about what's coming up for you that we haven't touched on, or even just about you as a person that you wouldn't pick up on at your shows?
If you're in New York, I have some upcoming shows. In March, I'm doing like a 2-night residency at this great club / restaurant in Brooklyn called Cafe Jewelry. So the first night, March 5th, is gonna be my checkboards with John Elbass and Ben Allen.
Oh, great.
And gotta figure out who's playing bass. But Jeremiah Edwards on bass. And the second night is gonna be my guitar band, Shekwoaga with strings, featuring Matt Sewell, Monzie Harriet, Andy Berman, Mayo Michael, and Jeremiah Edwards on bass. So those are my next things. I'm always trying to book more things though. So
yeah,
if you want to keep up with like any dates I have, you can follow me on Instagram. Hopefully a website. I'll have a website in the next few months. I'm trying to put that together. I'll be on with Mr. Garrett on all his dates this year. So if you go to his website or any day you see him playing, I'll be there.
That's so cool that it started from just going to a jazz festival, kind of following his music, to being on the band. So
yeah, it's surreal. It's like a dream come true, literally. That was one of the main reasons I moved to New York, was to play with Wallace Roney, Sr., and to play with Mr. Garrett and Pharoah Saunders. I would want to play with him. And Antoine Roney as well. So Pharoah and Wallace, they're gone, obviously, but it's great to have Mr. Garrett and Mr. Roney, the maestro Antoine Roney. They've been a big help to me.
Yeah.
Great friends and mentors and just inspiring artists. So thank you to them.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing to have this sense of like, there's still stuff I need to do and people I need to see here before the time is right for the next thing.
Yeah, I think that's, I feel like a lot of musicians like my age or my generation kind of take for granted the masters being here and like the ability to go see like a Pharoah Saunders. Well, Pharoah's gone now, but like I'll never forget like seeing Pharoah Saunders like that. That's something you can't unexperience. You know, seeing McCoy Tyner, seeing Roy Haynes, you know, Benny Golson, Jimmy Heath. It's like you can't replicate that. And what those lessons you get hearing those people live and playing with them too. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of young musicians kind of sleep on that and take that for granted. And that's why the music has been kind of in this place where it's not really moving forward. It's always going to be great music, but it's not moving forward because you need the lessons from the people that paved the way, that made the music what it is. Or there's gonna be one's music just won't have as much depth as it could because you don't know what happened. If you don't know what happened, you won't know what can happen, I feel like. And studying with like Billy Hart, Gary Bartz, Eddie Henderson, like people like that, OGs like that really taught me that, like, oh, like we don't know anything. Like you really want to know, you gotta be around the people that were there. Like they knew John Coltrane and Miles.
That's so cool.
So that's something I always was really important to me. Still is.
Yeah. Well, and also the people that you can see live who are a little younger, that one day they will maybe be in that position. So in general, support live music and talk to them. Yeah. So
definitely.
Well, enjoy the show tonight at Missy Lane's. That you'll just be a guest this time, so that will be nice as well, I think. Yeah. But it's been great having you on the show, and hope you have an amazing rest of your time in Durham with family.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Six Count. I'm Zara Wild. You can let us know what you thought of the episode or recommend a guest by emailing us at sixcountpodcast@gmail.com or by finding us on Twitter or Instagram at sixcountpodcast. If you'd like to support our work in telling the story of jazz in Durham, you can make a gift to the show by following the link in our episode description. Thanks for listening.